Welcome to this episode of the Gunman. In this video here, I'll be taking you guys through the second video on this Toyota Echo of mine that I'm fixing the hail damage on. So the first video was fixing the bonnet. This second one here, I'm doing the quarter panel. So in between doing the bonnet and the quarter panel, you can see I've actually fixed the roof. I didn't bother getting any footage. It was just a bit of a pain in the ass trying to get the tripod up there, and pretty much similar steps to the bonnet. So those of you who have seen the first video will remember I was talking about not having a very good setup with my sandpapers. Since then, to this second video, I've then gone and got some 40 grit sandpapers for my block and for my orbital sander, so I'm able to block it a little bit better than what I did. So I ended up having to do that for the roof as well. I've just skim filled the whole roof, and then just quickly sanded it with the orbital sander just to knock the top off, and then with the long speed file just ran it over the whole roof, and it took me a long time. That roof was going around in bog for about a week. Just on and off. I was still finishing off at my previous workplace when I was doing this car, and I'd just come down and do a couple of hours after work at my own workshop every night. So by the time I actually got to painting it, I was actually here full time. So as you see, I started off by sanding it all down with some 80 grit. I didn't want to rip into that paintwork too hard, so I'm exposing it all, and it's going to make something that's going to fry up. So 80 grit to start off on the orbital sander, no interface pad, and then filled it all up as you saw, just using the polyester lightweight filler. I use the U-Pole brand, and just putting the filler into the affected spots, as you can see there. As you saw at the very start, this is it's not a pretty picture, but those who have seen the previous video will know that it's in half decent order now. It's something that you can drive around and don't feel ashamed to be seen in. So once I'm happy I've got the most of it, just the top of it buzzed down with the orbital sander, I've then got this block here. You see I'm using the small one. It enables me to concentrate just on the spots that I want to be blocking. If you look at this quarter panel when it's all finished, it's sort of, the line does sort of, go away a bit, but I'm happy with the final result all in all. Just take notice, I've got that aluminium tape around the windscreen and the tail light, which decided not to take the tail light out, and obviously there's no use in taking the windscreen out. It really was just a quick tidy up on this thing, and as I said, I got the result I wanted. So if this was, say, a customer's car, it would be a write-off any day of the week. There is no way any panel shop would actually repair this car. They would take one look at it and say, mate, the car's worth $3,000 tops if you go to sell it, and it's going to cost us probably $10,000 to fix it, because there's a lot of man hours that went into it. But the way I say it just got some work in the door, even being that it's my own car. It just, I sort of had a bit of fun doing it, and a few cans of bog. The paint supplier sort of looked after me with the materials and that, because when you're doing your own cars, this guy from Parks, Jeff from Parks, is a good bloke here in Western Australia. He usually looks after the guys doing their own cars. So a couple of cans of bog. I think I used 1.5 cans of bog in this, and that's a lot of product on there, but no biggie. So again, just going around the rest of the quarter panel. It sort of worked in my favour. I did the worst of it first when I was doing this car, so that's sort of the bonnet and roof were pretty bad, and this quarter panel was pretty bad too, so I just broke the job up into sort of manageable parts, and as I got along, it just got smaller and smaller, and I could start to see the light at the end of the tunnel. So that's it when I've got that quarter panel all repaired up. So just blown it all off, put it back in the booth, giving it a mask up, as you can see there, and when we're priming, I'll give you a look at most of the primer work. I'm using the Air Gunza AZ3 1.8mm, which I did a review and demo on this gun for primer work on this car, and I asked you guys whether or not you wanted to see the rest of the footage on this car. You guys said that you wanted to, so that's actually the only real reason I'm editing this footage up for you guys. When I was doing it, I thought, well, I'll record it, but I wasn't sure whether or not I wanted to actually put it up, because there is no way I would ever like to put this amount of filler in anyone's car. And if you're a DIY guy, sitting at home thinking, oh yeah, I'd be able to do that for my car, just think twice about it. Unless you've got the proper knowledge and the know-how and the tools and equipment to do the job properly, I'd probably say you're just going to end up with a nightmare on your hands. If it was light hail damage, then yeah, maybe give it a shot. If you've got a bit of experience with the body repair side of things, I'd say the painting and the priming and all that kind of, yeah, that's probably the easier side. Well, I guess that's probably partly because I'm a painter, but yeah, so as you see with that first coat of primer, I just sort of gave it a bit of a, just a medium wet coat, nothing too heavy. This day was about 35 to 40 degrees, so you see that I've given it virtually no flash off time in between the first coat and this second coat. You can see just blowing a little bit of air over there, flashing it straight off. And I decided to leave that flash off time, and just to show you guys how long you really need to leave it in this extreme heat. So I'm using fast hardener as well, because I ended up driving the car home this same night. Just parked it out in the sun for half an hour and then jumped in it and drove home. Which is, as I said, that's why another reason why I'm breaking the job up as well, so I don't have a whole car with bog hanging out of it and rusting or possibly rusting and getting moisture in it overnight, which to be honest isn't really a big issue with in my part of the world, Western Australia, Perth. It's a pretty dry climate, hot and dry climate, so don't really get that much rain or humidity. It's actually, I would say, quite good in environment for spray painting. Humidity opens up a whole world of problems for spray painting. If you do live in a humid environment, I would highly recommend using a spray booth that has dehumidification cycles on it. Obviously you've got to use your water traps, the water freezers and all that kind of stuff. They freeze the air, and it gets rid of all the water out of the moisture out of the air that you're using, because water in your paint, it's just going to bubble up, and you know, it might look good straight away, it might not look good straight away, and there's no real way of fixing it rather than respraying it, taking that affected paint off and repainting it. So this is after that second coat. You can see it's okay. It's a little bit wobbly, but the way I see it with this car, if driving down the street, you don't look at that car and say, have a look at that old thing that's all beaten up like it's been hit by a million hammers or something like that. Yeah, that's all I really wanted. So after that second coat, I've given it another probably 5 minutes in between the second and third coat, which you see me putting the third coat on now. I skipped out half of the footage just to stop the vid from getting too long for you, so I'm going to try and keep all these videos to around the 10-minute mark, just to keep interest in it. Some may get longer, and the last one may be a little bit shorter. A guy actually asked to see how I paint hubcaps, and I just so happened that I decided, oh well, I may as well take the footage of me painting the hubcaps. I did it, and yeah, so he gets what he wants for the last video, final cleanup, and yeah, just painted the hubcaps, just tied it all up. So there you go. I'm getting pretty good build up with this primer. It's Duke's own primer. To be honest, I actually don't really like this primer. I mainly bought it because it was cheap. I'm not throwing thousands and thousands of dollars worth of extremely expensive paint on this shit heap. It's just not worth it. As you can see, the Air Guns AZ3 1.8mm gets that primer on actually really nice. The main issue I have with the Duke's own primer is actually the way it sands. It goes on nice. It's a little bit thin, so it makes it easy, so I don't have to put thinners in it, but because it's so thin, if you add, say, 10% reducer to your primer, you end up with 10% more primer filler, so it actually ends up more cost efficient and stuff like that, and you get a higher build out of it too. So you see me here just with the last one. I was just looking at how much I had. I'd just given it a bit of a double header just with the last of that primer that I had just to finish it off. So got a nice build up there. It turns out that I don't even block this car. I don't even block that primer. I just put some 240 straight onto the Wizzy and just Wizzied it back with the hard pad and no interface pad. This is the car once it's finished off. Pretty happy with it. Got it actually really nice and clean. It was good for me. It was my first respray in my own spray booth. It was good for me to get a feel of the booth and where to paint and the ups and downs of it. And I'm pretty happy with the overall result. Give us a big thumbs up. Check out these two vids at the end. Thanks for watching, and this has been another Gunman production. Goodbye.